Happened in the 90s.
Matt was the fat kid, Steve was the black kid. Life wasn't always great, but you know what was? The 90s. Happened in the 90s. Yeah!
There's always something exciting for everyone from Disney Interactive.
New from Disney Interactive. It's Disney's Magic Artist, the ultimate artist workshop on CD-ROM that transforms your home computer into a magical art studio. Compose dazzling works of art with over 300 magic stamps, including your favorite Disney characters, then watch as they're drawn stroke by stroke. Or select magic stamps, then enhance your picture with art tools like paints, crayons, and markers that look like the real thing. Lots of wacky tools let you decorate your pictures with ladybugs, confetti, bubbles, and more. You can even begin with a blank canvas and use your brushes, chalk, and finger paints to create original masterpieces. Then print your artwork out in full color or create coloring book pages and share them with your family and friends.
Follow the shape around
Interactive
the eye.
lessons from Disney artists teach you how to draw Mickey and the gang. Disney's Magic Artist, the CD-ROM that lets you create magic right on your home computer.
Happy Pi Day, everybody.
3.14, Steve?
3.14. Like, I don't know what they do to celebrate Pi Day. Like, I feel like it's something nerdy, though.
It's great that they even designate that, but shout out to those people that can go like deep into the decimal points on pi, because I do remember like that was a thing at one point. You know, I only know I think it's 3.146, if I'm not mistaken, but I can't even believe I remembered the 3.14, to be honest. I'm dumb. I'm dumb as rocks, Steve.
No, you're not, dude. Stop doing that.
For mathematics? For mathematics, though, I mean, I don't even know what pi's for, you know, but, you know, thanks for the ego boost. I appreciate it.
Mathematics. You're great at that.
Puns.
And, like, oh, yeah, I'm full of that and then bad dad jokes, but going over the stuff on our list for the week, man, I've come to the conclusion that Lorenz Tate is like the black Leonardo DiCaprio.
Damn, what a great description, because that's fucking great. That's on point for sure.
He doesn't have like that same level of success. Like, I mean, he hasn't been in epic pictures like Leo or like, you know, won the acclaim, you know, all of that. I'm talking in terms of, you know, how they started. They're both child actors. You know, they were both featured in, you know, sitcoms that we watched back in the day. You know, they've got range. You know, even though Lorenz doesn't have that level of success, he's shown that he has range. He's been the bad guy, you know, from O-Dog to being in love stories with, you know, Jada Pinkett and Nia Long, all within the 90s. Same thing with Leo. That's Romeo, but he's also, you know, and the guy from Titanic. But, you know, he's also, you know, what was that Tom Hanks movie? Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah.
He's also, you know, the Revenant. He's also the Jordan guy from Werewolf.
That guy, one of the most heinous villains in Django. Like, if you would have told me the kid from the island and What's Eating Gilbert Grape was gonna play that, like, showed me, I'd be like, there's no fucking way. Mr. Handsome, but you're right. Was Lorenz Tate in Dead Presidents?
He was, yeah, man.
So
very dramatic.
Damn, that's a great comparison though, because they were very prolific in the 90s. I mean, I don't know what Lorenz Tate's doing now, but for a time and place, they definitely were running like on parallel paths for sure. And Lorenz Tate's a beast.
And ladies still love both of them. Ladies have always loved them. You know, when Lorenz Tate was O-Dog, like, ladies thought he was so high. He's dangerous. Oh my God, with his dreads, he's so cute. Oh my God. Same thing with Leo. Oh my God, who's that dreamy guy living with the Seavers now? Oh my God.
I love that. Who's that the guy with the Seavers? Oh my God. But yeah. Damn, Lorenz Tate. I wonder What is a Lorenz Tate doing now, Steve? I'm just wondering because
Well,
I haven't seen him in a
he
while.
he did have a prominent role in Power. I don't know if you saw that. It was a really good series on Stars, and he played the mayor. He had a recurring
Oh
role as the
wow, okay.
mayor. Yeah, and still look like Lorenz Tate. Like he's a guy that doesn't age, man. And I follow him on Instagram, and the ladies always, like I said, him and
I
Leo,
mean,
man.
that guy goes out. I mean, he's got his pick of the litter. Maybe younger ladies wouldn't know him, but he's still a handsome guy, so he's got that. But if it's a chick like our age, oh my god, he needs a
Mhm.
rain jacket to just slough off all that PJ that's running at him, Steve.
What you gonna do now, Willie?
Damn, that was a really insightful comparison. I'm impressed, Steve. I love that.
And we've covered episodes that they were both in as like teens, pre-teens, man. And still like never missed a beat. Like I don't think Lorenz is as active as Leo, but he's still getting roles, getting work, man. So
He's still got, I'm sure he has like a cachet, and that dude has to be rich because he was in a shit ton of hit movies for a long ass time, for a decade solid, when they were paying people too.
yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, we've learned two things. One, Lorenz Tate, historically a badass and could have been in the Get Pussy crew, or started his own. Maybe he did, but also Steve needs to start his own movie just review class and just teach us all how to just ingest facts and just put out just a really nice package. It's like a gift to the world. I love that.
I am a data manager.
From Super Mario Kart.
It's a real race out there today, folks. People are driving like animals. The turnpike split in two, and a turtle shell is making travel impossible for one motorist. Over on the freeway, it's bumper to bumper, door to door, wheel to wheel, you name it. And check your rear view. Some blockheads are causing major delays. There's already been one accident there. And watch out over on I-94. A banana peel is making things a little slippery. And that's traffic.
With two-player split-screen action, you've never been in a race like this. Super Mario Kart, only for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. No wonder the best play here.
Well, hey, boys and girls, this is Steve G and Matt G. What happened in the 90s, a show where we talk about what happened in the 90s. So get out your Buff Bagwell and your Buffy the Vampire Slayer action figures. Because it's me against the world, baby. Me against the world. I got nothing to prove. It's just me against the world, baby. Me against the world.
I thought you were going E40, honestly. I was waiting to hear, ooh.
Sprinkle me, man. Sugar, sugar, that's my sister. Sprinkle me, man. Well, today, my friend, we're talking about all things March 14th in the 90s. Starting off in 1995, Home Improvement is airing season 4, episode 20, Matt. Talk to me. Tim accidentally throws dinner into the trash compactor and then drops Jill's ring down the furnace. Tim speaks to two guys on how to talk to women on tool time, and he calls Jill an old hen.
I mean, this is a great episode of this show, which we love, but we get 2 cameos in this that are just extra special for me, Steve. A young Dave Chappelle.
Season 4! I need to be in season 4, episode 20!
And a Jim Brewer. I mean, was this hot off of being in was this pre-Half Baked? When did Half Baked come out?
That's the mind-blowing thing about it. Half Baked came out in like 97, 98. This is 95. It's just like 2 stars of Half Baked. Did you guys do this? Did you know this? Season 4, episode 20, Matt.
Oh my God, dude. There's a conspiracy here somewhere, Steve. I'm not smart enough or sober enough to know what it is, but maybe they can't. Did Dave Chappelle conceive this in a trailer with Jim Brewer waiting to film a scene with Tim the Toolman Taylor, Steve?
I'm thinking this could be another lesson in my pop culture data class.
Yeah, you're definitely just, mark it. This is chapter 2.
Chapter 420.
Great home improvement. We start this episode off in the Taylor household, and Randy and Brad are playing a little indoor hockey, Steve, and I don't like that as somebody who want to own a home. These kids with their beautiful hair and their hockey sticks. I mean, come on.
Hey man, Lion King residuals. He can pay for it.
Yeah. Damn, JTT too. I mean, prolificness all throughout this episode. But Jill comes in. She's kind of a little on edge. She's busy. She's going to school. She comes home to a dirty house and she's like, what the fuck's going on here, guys? I know this is fucking hockey town, but you should have cleaned up. So what pig caused this mess? And what I think is Randy's like, it's actually the pig that wears a tool belt. So watch your mouth, Mom.
And like while she goes away, Tim comes in and the boys alert him like, hey, watch out for Mom. She's in a bad mood. Oh, great. You pissed her off. Like now I'm pissed that you pissed her off. Now she's going to get down my throat. Like what the well, she's mad that you left a mess on the counter. Oh, well, shit. I need to clean that up. So he tries to clear all the clutter on the counter and say that 3 times fast. While he's doing that, Jill shouts out to him. It's like, hey, why you doing everything in the kitchen? Can you set the dinner up? Like I just got it from the grocery store. It's like, well, where's it at? Oh, it's above the trash compactor. Well, no, it's not.
Yeah. And you just got to get out of those crosshairs, Steve. And I don't know what he did. Maybe he had to go to Mickey D's after that. But we go to the credits. We see a different version of the credits than we've seen, the more video game-esque, like Clarissa Explains It All credits. And I love these.
This is more subdued.
And then we come back to the house. Jill is studying. Tim's doing the dishes. They're a great team. But Tim tells Jill he's like, hey, maybe don't leave your wedding ring right by the drain where I could just drop this thing in. It's unsafe. Leave it over here. He's got to get his 2 cents in. But as soon as he says that, he like drops the ring into an even deeper hole, which is just a hole that goes into their furnace, which I don't get. I'm not a craftsman, Steve, but why a hole that's big enough to drop stuff into just to the furnace? Isn't that like a fire hazard?
Maybe the furnace vent was open.
Wow.
Sometimes you got to open it. It's March, so in Detroit it's still cold, probably. And Jill is in another room while this is going on, so they're having a back and forth, and he's just like, "Oh shit!" And Jill kind of already knows what's going on. She's like, "What happened?" She comes back into the kitchen. Is like, "What'd you do?" And he's like, "I don't know what you talking about. Where's my ring? You dropped it in the drain, didn't you?" No, I didn't. I kind of sort of dropped it in the furnace vent.
The hole to hell. Sorry about that.
Yeah, my bad.
But that doesn't incent. He's a tool man, so he can get that. He can figure that out. I wouldn't be able to. I'd be like, so that's gone. We'll have to just get you a new ring, I guess. But as this is happening, Jill thinks that she notices that Tim's like he just bothered. She's
Got
like,
some
yeah,
funk in his step.
acting weird, and he's like, no, it's fine. This is what I do, Steve. I'm like, no, this is what all dudes do, because you can't. It's not necessary. You don't want to start the conversation for this reason, because he tries everything not to tell her what's bothering her. But then she's like, all right, I need to know, so tell me. And he goes, well, if I have to, you've been going to school. I've been doing a lot of chores around here while you're at school, and just a little thank you would be nice. And
like I'm being taken for granted.
That, I mean, Steve, you've been in relationships. I'm in a relationship, and this is like the last thing that you would want to say. Lie. And this incenses Jill to the point where I thought she was going to grab a knife and stab his ass. But she goes through the whole laundry list of, I've been running this house for 15 years, cleaning up shit, cleaning up after these kids, cleaning up after you. And I never got a thank you. I didn't get shit. And now that I'm trying to do my thing, you're being a bitch, basically. I'm paraphrasing. She doesn't say that, but, it's ABC.
Yeah. And let's be real. You were happier when I was just here, stuck at the house, barefoot and pregnant all the time. Maybe I should just shoot out another kid. You probably like that, huh? It's like, oh, hey, slow down. You
We
jumping the
got three.
gun.
We got three, and two of them are iffy at best. So.
Yeah, one of them kids look like you more than me. I'm like,
but then we cut to them recording Tool Time. We're in the middle of it. Al's trying to teach Detroit's metropolitan area about cabinet doors, but Tim's just really feeling
persnickety.
Yeah, he's got to get something off his chest, dude.
You know what? Fuck this shit. You secure and perfect union, cut it out. Oh, that shit. You know, I want to get something off my chest. You know what really grinds my gears? You know, when you're chilling, you're trying to get something out the drain, out the vent, the furnace vent. Then out of the hen house, just out of nowhere, the old hen comes clucking. Oh, maybe we need to talk. Oh, I noticed some funk in your tone. And then some familiar faces are in the audience, and it's none other than Dave Chappelle and Jim Brewer.
And coincidentally enough, Steve, that's their names are Jim and Dave in this show, and they've been having some issues too. So Tim, instead of doing Tool Time, it's time to talk relationship time, and he brings them down because he's got to sort their lives out too, and he brings them down, and you know, he's like, well, my wife's going to school for psychology, so something good to do in these situations is a little bit of role playing. Not that kind, but you got to sit in somebody else's shoes. So, Dave, you're going to be Jim's wife, Lorraine, talking to Jim, and we're going to go through this. And they do a whole role playing session, Steve. And I mean, I got to say, Dave's really into it. Where were you at last night?
And, you know, where was I? And then he honks the horn. He's like, you know, you don't answer a question with the question.
They know that. They know that's a dead giveaway. You're lying right there. And that's good advice. I mean, he's giving out some banger advice, Steve.
Yeah. And after all of this, Al has to let the people know, ladies, if you have any questions, you can contact him directly. And here's his number.
I mean, Al always has, like, I love he has that ready too. He didn't even know this was going to happen, but he just had that shit on the good to go.
His thoughts and opinions do not reflect mine. Maybe you need a sign sometimes when I go on my rants, Matt.
You know, I'm cool to co-sign it though. I'm into it. It's fine. But I need to get maybe I will do that. That's a good bit. I'm going to have to think about that.
Now that I think about it, man, you do say some shit sometimes, Steve, that I can't.
But Tim's insulted all the women in Detroit. And I got to say, this is eerily similar to an episode of Martin where he goes on a rant on the radio and then goes out to dinner and with Gina and some, like, a friend of hers and a dude. And he rallies all the dudes in the restaurant to just go, fellas! But, you know, Tim's ballsy because his wife watches the show. So you know this woman's coming in at hot as fuck every day. What are you doing here, bro?
It's the talk of the town. It's Tool Time.
So we cut back to the house. Tim's still trying to find Jill's ring in this whatever's going on in these pipes. Boys still are not cleaning up. And Jill's still coming in hella hot. And it's not because of the state of the house or Tim just being a douche. It's because she saw the episode. So, you know, get the boxing gloves out, get the mouthpiece, because ding, ding, ding. It's on.
Randy, that's the little one, right?
Randy's JTT.
That's JTT. Mark is the little one.
Mark's the little one.
Yeah, and Mark's supposed to be assisting Tim get that ring out of the drain, and he's dropping a tennis ball. But Jill shows up, and she's like, you know what? Give me that tennis ball. I got something else. So he's talking back and forth with Mark, and, you know, instead of a tennis ball, he gets a croquet ball. He's like, I told you a tennis ball. Why'd you throw down a croquet ball? It wasn't me, dog. Well, who was it? It was the old hen. Oh, hi, honey. Penny, honey.
And she's got a whole rack of those croquet balls ready to go. They get in a fight through the vent because she can basically see down through it enough. Well, whatever. But Tim puts a football helmet on. He's got a Lions helmet on. He puts that on for safety. They get in a fight. For some reason, he thinks it's over with, takes it off. Jill drops another. I mean, this could be murder, Steve. I don't know what's going on here, but Jill's a cold-blooded lady at this point.
And for relief, his per episode relief, he goes outside, and it's none other than Wilson on the other side of that fence, and he's playing the harmonica. And Tim asks him, "Would you like to play harmonica this morning, Tim?"
This guy's like a sage, dude. Is he an angel? He can sing the blues too, so he can just fucking freestyle blues. He's got got out of my bed, got hit in the head.
He's Wilson is idiot savant, man. Just like Clarissa can make a video game that pertains to the episode, Wilson can, whatever his neighbor's dealing with, he can just make a song on the spot.
I got those low down croquet ball blues. Is that John Popper?
I don't think so, Tim.
Yeah, but I mean, he is like, it's like Obi-Wan Kenobi is over there. What can't Wilson do? Where's this money coming from? I don't know, but they go through the whole shit. Or Tim's like, she's just nagging all the time, dude. Like, I can't handle it. And Wilson basically says that, maybe you need to pay attention. Like, maybe Jill's, all this nagging is her like trying to reach out for help because she's got the blues. Really, she's overwhelmed. Something's going on with her. And as always, it's a bullet right into Tim's cortex. It straightens him out, Steve.
Wilson, man of mystery, yet he has all the answers.
Did he play the Roseanne theme song also? I'm just wondering because this guy.
And the theme song, The Big Show. Well, the next day at tool time, Al comes in, and now he's not talking to Tim. Al's pissed because his cabinet making bit didn't make it into the episode, and he told all his cabinet maker friends that to look out for it. Now they're just displeased.
I look like an asshole right now.
I hope they didn't become unhinged.
Good one, Tim. But as they're getting ready to record, Jim and Dave come in, and they're like, dude, our wife saw that fucking show too. You got to get on here. You got to save our relationships because they're in shambles because of that shit. I don't know why
with my woman.
I don't know why two wives were watching Tool Time, but they saw that shit. And Tim, I forget what he says, but he's like, just stay back here. Or no, they want him to go out and do it because he's like, yeah, come out and be on the show. And they're like, nah, you got to do it. You go tell them you're sorry. I don't want to be implicated.
Dave told him, man, I don't want to go out with you, man. You dangerous. You got me in trouble, man. So the show starts, and Tim immediately, he wants to apologize. He says, those two bachelors I had on the show the other day, I got them in trouble. And this is what I'm going to do to rectify the situation. So instead of having them come out, he just goes back to them, puts them on the spot like, oh man.
So Dave has to say hi to his wife, Phyllis. And he says he's sorry for anything he may say. And he said, most importantly, the biggest lesson I've learned is that I will never listen to Tim the Toolman Taylor ever again. So I'm sorry, Phyllis. Phyllis, Dave?
Yeah, baby boomer name. And Jim, he has to say to Lorraine, like, hey, I've been meaning to share this with you for a while. We're going to get married. I got a ring for you. And you know, I even got the date, May 28th. And then Tim tells him, like, no, that's Daytona 500. June 4th. June 4th.
And he's like, I even got you a ring, baby. Check this out. And Tim like's like, oh my God. He takes the ring, which, I mean, damn, dude, like, hands off. But the thing's got a rock on it. He holds it up to the camera, and then bink, bink, we hear a little tingling. And he's like, oh my God, sorry. Weirdly enough, I didn't even know there was a drain down here. That's crazy. I love, and Jim Brewer's reaction is very great. He's like, what the oh my God, this guy's just ruining lives, Steve. I mean, God damn.
Tell you he's dangerous. And now back at the house, Tim made Jill a model psychiatrist's office. She comes home from her test, and you know, apparently she did well.
90th percentile, Steve. 90th percentile.
Whatever that means.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she's at the top of the class. That's what it means. But Tim's gonna build her an office whenever she gets that degree. And in his little scale model, it looks great. It looks like a psychiatrist's office. It even comes with Jill, represented as like a little Lego woman, and a little nutty nut, Psycho, represented by a peanut.
Not J.K. Simmons, but Tim, yeah. Toolman.
And they do a little role playing or therapy in the little. You know, they're using the model to go through their own problems, basically.
You know what? From now on, when you ask me what I'm doing or how I'm doing, and I tell you how I'm feeling, don't bite my head off.
Well, and Jill owns up to her end of it too. Like, they're both apologetic. But Tim's even admits, he's like, well, I should be, you know, you held me down when I decided to stop doing what I was doing and start Tool Time. And that was a crazy, crazy throw to left field. So I should be there for you. And maybe one day, Jill, you're going to want to have your own TV show, and it can, you know, it could be like an offshoot of my shit. And it'll be Psycho Time with Jill Taylor. I'd watch.
Is everyone cognizant of what time it is?
Also, maybe her and Martin, who has a TV show in Detroit about relationship problems, they could do like a collab, maybe. Just throwing it out
with the
there.
Love Doctor.
Yeah, dude. Hell yeah. But I think everything's gonna be okay in the Taylor household, Steve. I think it's all right.
Especially now that Tim got this Benford super compressor. And he finally sucks that ring out, and it bounces around the house like Cole's toenail and lands in their food on the stove. But
they got it, Steve. Somehow, whatever that was, did the job. And like I said, if nothing else, the guy's better than I am, because if I drop something into the furnace, I figure it's gone into the ether. I wouldn't even think you could recover it. So shout out to Tim for at least knowing that much, you know?
Also in 1995, Collective Soul releases their second album titled Collective Soul.
And as we discussed earlier, Steve, when I was a young man in the 90s, this was what we would call soft rock. And I just wasn't ready. I couldn't accept listening to something called soft rock as somebody who was listening to Limp Bizkit, to White Zombie. This was some pussy shit.
It's too pussified, baby. I want my rock stars doing the Dragula and the Nookie.
But this shit is good. I mean, you've got some great thoughts on it. I'm just gonna point out 3 songs that stood out to me just going through a listen today while I was working out. December, great song. I know that was on 92.5 and 106.5 on Toledo. The World I Know, I think, is one of the songs I love. And Gel's a banger too. So those are my top three right now.
To where the river flows. Left that one out.
I didn't. I'm sorry. It's up there though. But Collective Soul, I'm sorry, dude. Soft rock or not, you guys fucking killing it.
Maybe this is a sign of us aging. I mean, obviously the people can see the grays popping out. I did in Beijing, didn't have enough time. But hey, I'm a man. I'm 40.
I'm allowed to like soft rock, Steve.
Shit. In my khaki pants. Collective Soul got some slappers.
This is great. Just like I would love to go to like a county fair and watch some Collective Soul, Steve, because I feel like that's where they're at now. But I would be fucking living my life listening to this now. I could just be in my glories, no care in the world listening to Collective Soul now, not worrying like, are people gonna think I'm soft because I'm listening to this soft rock?
You've earned that right to listen to soft rock and enjoy it without being ridiculed.
Thank you.
And nobody should ever ridicule you for liking E40s in a major way, because it's the one with Big Timer.
Talking more,
whiner.
talking more shit than Colliders. Dude.
I'll be more hipper than hippopotamus.
Welcome in the AM, toasted out of my cranium. I love E40 might be one of the greatest American wordsmiths of all time. He's come up with his own language, just like geniuses like J.R.R. Tolkien did for Lord of the Rings. E40's come up with some crazy language for the Bay Area, Yay area, if you will. Steve and I bonded over watching Three Strikes, where E40 had a huge role, and the vocabulary in that was amazing. So this album, a couple of bangers that I can just call out. Sideways. There's a song called Da Bumble that has a bunch of hilarious lyrics to it. Listen to that. And then the song Spittin'. And that's the one where he says, wake up in the AM, toasted out of my cranium. That's pretty good rap, Steve.
And I mean, anything he does in his voice, man. 40 water.
This is that also still has that West Coast sound, like that G-funkish.
Yep.
You know, like whatever you call that. The beats in this are amazing. E40, he's a legend, dude. He's on Mount Rushmore too. He has to be.
Yeah. Well, you know, he had that super group with Too Short, Snoop, and who's the fourth? Q, Mount Westmore.
It's like my God. Well, I did not know that, but I'm going to have to listen to that.
Yeah, they put out an album, I want to say last year or the year before, man.
Damn, dude. Shout out to E40, though. I mean, hilarious. He's like, it's almost like comedy rap, too. It's not, but just the way he raps is just like, makes you smile.
It does, man. You know, it feels like, just like listening to a Rick Ross song. Like, I always feel like he takes you to Miami where you're at the port or some yacht, or it's just, he gives you that extravagant feel. Yeah. Listening to E40, I feel like I'm in Vallejo. You know what I'm saying? driving 405. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like I'm gliding through, close riding the rip. I feel like I'm in the interstate. I feel like I'm driving through Golden State Bridge. You feel me? Figure deal me?
I mean, he definitely is like especially for the Bay Area, you know, like it's him and Too Short. I feel like those are the main two. So yeah, just a nice ooh for E40. We love you.
40 water, sprinkle me, man. Also, that same day, and he has a feature from Tupac on that album called Dusted and Disgusted, which is also a banger, man. But speaking of Pac, 1995, Me Against the World is released, and this is my favorite Tupac album. It's the one with the title track, Me Against the World. It's the one with Dear Mama, which is like heavily used around Mother's Day, like that, and the Boys to Men song, like, you know, I'm sure it has 1 billion streams just off that day alone, man.
I was gonna ask you where this stacks up in Tupac's like catalog. This isn't my favorite, but it's a great album. All Eyes on Me is my favorite.
A lot of people go to All Eyes on Me, and some Tupac purists will even say Don Illuminati, the 7 Day Theory. That's the one with Hail Mary, the one that was released like right after his death. But this is my favorite, man. It's the first time I don't even think just a rapper, but a music artist went #1 while in prison. And just off that stat alone, I think that's pretty fucking baller. Like, hey, man, your album just came out. People in Lithuania listen to your shit. All right, man, that's cool. I got to hit these reps, though.
Yeah. Yo, can you give me a couple more books so I can do these dips real quick?
Yeah. He said he needed a pack of smokes. All right, shit.
Damn it. I got some tasty cakes. Tell him I'll give him a cigarette. That's crazy, though. I mean, that's legendary.
It's the world. But in 1997, City of Industry premieres. A retired thief swears revenge on a lunatic who murdered his brother and partner while going on the run with the loot they stole. Directed by John Irvin, starring Harvey Keitel, Stephen Dorff, Timothy Hutton, Famke Janssen, Wade Dominguez, Michael Jai White, and Elliot Gould.
Wait, Michael Jai fucking White's in this?
Yes, he is.
Well, and I definitely need to see it. I have not seen this. I watched the preview of it. It looks like if Reservoir Dogs went like at least went a little less crazy. This is Harvey Keitel at his finest. This is the '90s Keitel where he's just fucking a badass.
Have you ever heard of it before this?
City of Industry to me is just a shitty place outside of LA. It's not any. I didn't know it was a movie. This appears to be like one of those movies that they made that's like trying to get in on that Tarantino vibe a little bit in the 90s. It's like one of those. But the fact that Michael Jai White's in a movie with Harvey Keitel makes me want to come in my pants. And then you add a little Stephen Dorff on top of it. I like that.
Stephen Dorff, yeah, he was killing it in the 90s, man. We don't talk about him enough, but he had a nice run throughout the decade.
He's one of the original Marvel villains, Steve. He was the villain in fucking Blade, dude. So he's one of the OGs.
Exactly, man. And it's worth watching once, because it's pretty much like you said, man. It seemed like the industry was trying to capitalize off of that Tarantino vibe, and it's got like some Pulp Fiction-esque elements to it, man. But it's decent, and I think it's available on Tubi.
And it's just like a diamond heist gone awry, because like one of the guys, like Stephen Dorff, just blows everybody away and takes all the shit. So man, and you get a little sexy Famke Janssen from back in the day, Jean Grey. Love that. Damn, what is Michael Jai White doing this though? What is he doing? Is he a heavy?
In a way, so he's supposed to be Stephen Dorff's protection. He knows that Harvey Keitel might retaliate, so he's like, "Hey, man, you and your boys, like, y'all got my back, right?" And one of the other guys in Michael Jai White's crew, I recognize him as the guy who played Martin's cousin in the Thanksgiving episode that thought he was Eddie Murphy. That's like,
hell yeah, dude.
My random references, man. Like, if you have to know to get some of these references, man.
Damn, but hey, man, Stephen Dorff, you could do way worse than picking Michael Jai White to be the guy protecting you. That guy can do anything. He'll pick a gun up. He'll kick you in the fucking chops. I love that.
Dynamite.
Damn, this is right before Spawn came out too. That's like, this is Michael Jai White getting it, like starting to get into Hollywood a little bit.
The same year, I believe. Yeah.
We don't talk enough about Michael Jai White, Steve. I try to get the word out on that guy as much as possible, because it's a goddamn shame that he's not one of the greatest action stars America's ever had, if not the world, for that matter.
Hey, as long as we're alive, the world will know, Matt. But also in 97, Love Jones premieres. It's that Leo Lorenz guy. Darius Love Hall is a young Black poet in Chicago who starts dating Nina Mosley, a beautiful and talented photographer. While trying to figure out if they've got a love thing or just kicking it, they hang out with their friend, talking about love and sex. Then Nina tests the strength of Darius' feelings and sets a chain of romantic complications into motion. Directed by Theodore Witcher, starring Lorenz Tate, Nia Long, Isaiah Washington, Lisa Nicole Carson, and Bill Bellamy.
Little Bill Bellamy too on this?
He's
a dog.
A player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's how to be a player. That's why
what I was gonna
say. Great movie too. Great Bernie Mac appearance in that movie, if nothing else. I'm gonna kill your ass. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you. I don't have a huge stake to play in this, other than this movie has been on at times when I was making out with a chick, and I've watched this a few times, but never seen it all. But it's got some very sexy women in it. It's all about sex and groups of friends. Isaiah Washington What do I know that dude from? Because I can't
Well,
place it.
well, he's the brother that got canceled off of Grey's Anatomy. He got into it. Was it with Patrick Dempsey? I can't remember, but like he used the gay slur, and this is like at the beginning of the. He was like one of the first guys to get canceled in
Man,
this
I'm just
era.
bringing up awful. Like I'm like, hey, who is that? But isn't he? Now that I'm
He
thinking, it's his face. I think he was in a movie called Romeo Must Die with Jet Li.
with Aaliyah in
Yeah,
yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, he was in that. He was in some Spike Lee movies. He was in Crooklyn. He was in
Yes, that's also because Kendra just watched Crooklyn. I
yep.
forgot how sad Crooklyn is, Steve. That movie is fucking sad.
I remember watching that in the movie with my mom in the
God.
theaters with my mom, man.
Did you guys
But
walk
yeah,
out
man.
wiping tears out of your eyes? Jesus.
The soundtrack was cool.
Yeah. It's a good movie.
You
It's
know,
just like one of those where it's like, man, this is just like a tough watch. It's like Precious.
Sidetrack Sally.
Yeah,
But
sorry.
Love Jones, yeah, with Lorenz Tate and Nia Long, man. At the beginning of the episode of this decade, he was beating up Urkel. By the end of this decade, he's fucking Nia Long, man. So
God
he's making his
bless.
rounds.
God bless. And Nia Long, she is one of the most gorgeous women of all time. And that's maybe also why I would see this from time to time. I'd see her because after I saw Friday, I was like, oh my God, anything she was in, I had to just like check out. Dun, 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 dun. Dun.
But somebody,
I love that.
somebody, yeah. Where are we going, bro?
I
This
don't
is
know,
just
dude. We're off track. It's okay.
so slipping, man. But somebody who probably didn't watch City of Industry or Love Jones in 1997 is probably American gymnast Simone Biles, born in Columbus, Ohio, even though her
Oh,
hometown is, yeah, Spring, Texas,
Simone. Yeah,
Ohio's own.
I mean, she's a legend. She's a very small but very powerful person, and she can do things that if I tried, I would break in half. So shout out Simone. How many golds does the chick have now at this point?
Yeah. This is going to lead us down another dark path. Like we got a bad track record in this
Yeah, right.
episode of you asking
She
questions.
had a DUI.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
was charged for murder.
I'll stop doing that.
But 1999, that 70s show is airing season 1, episode 20, A New Hope. The gang goes to see the movie Star Wars. Eric's childhood rival comes to town. ...
I wonder when did the Phantom Menace come out? Because like one thing that it's kind of hard to realize now is that there was a time where Star Wars was huge. Everybody loved it for decades, but you couldn't like license the property. I think the most that we ever got was like that Muppet Babies episode, or maybe them showing up on Sesame Street. But this is like a full-on like spoof, just collab with Star Wars and that 70s show. And this was a big episode. I remember this getting a lot of hype when it came out.
I mean, I think Phantom Menace came out in 97.
Yeah,
And
I mean, Star Wars was coming back. I mean, also they just put out the redone original movies in theaters again. So they were trying to ramp up that Star Wars hype train again.
a long time ago in Point Place, Wisconsin. It's a time of upheaval for the Foremans. Red's hours have been cut back at the auto parts plant, and his holiday job with Bargain Bob is long gone. Kitty struggles to make ends meet, and Eric is in the throes of adolescence, which sucks no matter what decade it is. Am I right? Anyway, right now, Eric and his band of rebels are heading for a movie theater in Kenosha.
Going to see a movie with the boys. One of my favorite things in childhood, which was driving to the movie theater, getting a little stoned, maybe, just getting ready to go see a good ass flick. Kelso, he's like, dude, everybody's excited to see this except Kelso. And he's like, there's no way this movie's going to be as good as Planet of the Apes, which I love. I mean, that's hilarious.
It's based on a true story.
But we cut from the car. We see him actually like in the theater watching it. And they're like, they just keep panning down the aisle. and you just see everyone just falling in love with this movie, which is how it was for me when I was a kid, Steve. I used to love Star Wars, like to the most craziest extent.
Yes, I remember. And thank God you never became one of those kind of guys.
No.
You didn't go too far.
But the nerdiest thing I did with Star Wars is buy books that had schematics of the vehicles in Star Wars. And it was like technical guy, like it was bizarre, but I loved it, Steve. And the boys love it. And about everybody in America during this time in the 70s, I mean, this was that shit. This is the first like one of these, really, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the blockbuster, I think it became a thing in the 70s, man. And Star Wars was that. And by the time Eric gets back, he's sitting at the kitchen table with his sister and his mom. And he sounds just like every Star Wars fan that tries to sell that shit to me. Just gushing. Oh, man, you won't believe it. I mean, he's got this lightsaber and it's a saber made of light. And he sawed his arm off. It's cool.
It's like a toddler. It's like a little kid getting excited. And then Leia like did this, and then like Obi-Wan died, and everyone's like, dude, just calm the fuck down. Red comes in because as we saw in the title crawl, he's been having some issues with work, but he comes in just smiling ear to ear. He's got good news because the plant going back to full time. And I love Kitty. She's like, oh, thank God. We were so close to losing the house. And everyone else is like, wait, what? Times were tough.
I like the reference to Kmart. That takes you back, man. Oh.
Is there an open Kmart anywhere now? Is that just completely defunct?
There might be one lone survivor, man.
A holdover?
Yeah.
But Red also tells Eric that, his boss, Mr. Milbank's son is back in town, who Eric knew back in the day, but he set up like a little, he's like, yeah, David's going to come over. It's like, I'm a fucking teenager, Dad. Like, you're overstepping. But I love that Eric's history with this kid had scoliosis, had all these issues, and he's like, yeah, I whooped that kid's ass.
Yeah, fuck his scoliosis. Fuck your bone spurs. And Red, he tells his dad, David, I hate that guy. Well, I hate his dad, but whenever I see him, I smile. And you'll do the same, dumbass.
And then we go to the basement. Eric's telling everybody about David and how he whooped his ass. And I love Jack. He's like, isn't that the kid with scoliosis and asthma? And he's like, yeah.
Yeah, he kicked his ass.
Light work. Kelso, he wants to see Star Wars again. And he's trying to get Jackie to, and she's like, I want to see that nerdy shit. Like maybe we could do something else, like a little, and he's like, what? That's not Star Wars.
We have our whole lives to do that, Jackie. This is only for the moment.
I mean, he's like, the only thing I want to handle is a lightsaber, okay? And you should too. So fuck off. I think she leaves at this point, right? It's like Jackie's just gone.
They both leave.
Okay.
She leaves and he heads after. And, Fez is there like, glad they're gone. Now it's just the three of us. And Eric's just like, dude, oh, I get it. If I wasn't here, you'd be kissing on Donna. Too bad.
Well, then another cockblock shows up. David shows up finally. And David looks like he's in like the Partridge. He's got like a Friar Tuck haircut. He's got the JTT almost. He's got like a little Farrah Fawcett. And him and Donna just have like this chemistry right away. He's like, oh, he's still writing? She's like, oh my God. Yeah. And Eric's like, wait, you write? He's the buffoonish boyfriend.
Because he was so like allergic and, just ill-addled and everything, man. They was expecting Millhouse. But Donna's just like, David, you've grown up. Donna, you've really grown up. And Eric's just like, oh yeah, enough about us. So you still got that fucked up back, that spine, David?
Yeah, and also we're dating. And Donna is like, what the fuck was that? Like, and I do like Fez at the end of the scenes, like, Can I see your scoliosis? Can you see it? Then we cut to the kitchen. And this is where shit gets hot, Steve, because Lori's in town, in the house, Eric's older sister, who's a skank, and Kelso's trying to find some snacks, and she just like, I'm bored, and she's got some nipples popping. She's showing some midriff. She's looking hot. And if I was not of somebody that would ever get this thrown at me when I was a kid, but if I could go over to a buddy's house and his older sister was doing this kind of shit,
I'd look like that.
I'd never go. I would never leave the house. I'd show up to help out in any way I could, just in the hopes that this would happen. So she's throwing it at him, Steve, throwing it, and he just wants to see Star Wars.
Yeah, Kelso's trying to be a good boyfriend. He's like, look, I'm dating Jackie. I can't do anything with you, Lori. Well, you want to see my appendix scar? Look, I'm dating what's her name? What was her name?
God, I think I'm getting appendicitis. What does that look like? I just want to make sure. Lori's fucking hot. Cut to Donna's kitchen. And I gotta say, Donna, I get Eric's at being a kind of a possessive douche, but you know what the fuck you're doing. This is a little bit too much, because she's in the kitchen hanging out with David. They're reading her writing. Donna spills a little bit of soda on dude's crotch, starts drying it up. Eric comes in and he's hot. He's like, yo, what the hell? And rightfully so, Steve. Rightfully so.
Like, you already feeling a certain way about this dude, and you go to your girlfriend's house and he's there. Like, that's already a red flag. Now she's all rubbing on him, and Donna tells him, like, look, just because David's paying attention to me doesn't mean he wants to see me naked. Donna, grow up.
You need to just ask anyone, Donna. Are you a rube? Is he really reading it? Just ask him a question about what he wrote, what your stories are about. He doesn't know. Come on. And you
back at the basement. Yeah. Back at the basement, the guys are having their smoking sesh, and Fez suggests, hey, why don't you just let David have Donna? They look so good together.
Thanks, Fez. Hyde's like, you should just choke the dude out, which, honestly, pretty good advice. And Kelso basically, he's like, yeah, dude, you got, like, chicks love it when you fight for them, okay? They dig that shit. Just, look at Leia in Star Wars. He keeps bringing it back to Star Wars. He's like, look at Leia. And there's some parallel there, but Fez, again, so I think at the end of the scene, he's like, I got an idea. You should just let her have him. Or, they look so good together. It's just like, all right, Fez.
So he gets a punch. In the next scene, Eric is dreaming, or I should say nightmaring, and he's Luke Skywalker. You're better at this than I am. And Red, yes. Who is he supposed to be?
Red's Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he's trying to impart like wisdom to Luke, Eric, but he's just playing with his lightsaber, Steve. Hyde comes in, he's Han Solo. Kelso's Chewie. Kitty is just some X-Wing pilot who's using R2-D2 like a vacuum cleaner, I believe.
Yeah.
And then Darth Vader shows up, who is David. You don't see his face, but he's got Fez and Jackie with him, and they're stormtroopers. And then Donna's Leia, but she's hanging out with Darth Vader because she's into that steez. I forget whatever happens, but everybody starts laughing at Eric / Luke Skywalker, and then that's like the key for him to wake up. But basically, he's just getting bitched out in his dream as Luke Skywalker.
Jedi dumbass. And Jackie and Donna are back at her house talking, and Jackie asked Donna's mom, like, hey, Miss Pizziotti, isn't it cool when guys like try to be possessive and act like they own you? Oh yeah, but Mom, what about that feminist class you've been going to for the last week? Oh no.
Donna's mom can get it too, honestly.
Oh, they.
I didn't think I liked this 70s look, but yeah, a little. That's like some kind of. Where was the porno version of this at? Is there some sort of like, it's
there
out
is.
there? Yeah, that 70s blow. And then we're back in the backyard. And Eric asked Red, he's like, hey man, I think Red's there with Donna's dad and it's Eric. And he asked Red, he's like, dude, can you please teach me how to fight? Because I gotta nip this in the butt. And Mr. Pinciotti just is like, the first funny thing he says is when he realizes that like Donna might date David, he's like, there's no way that my daughter's dating some pretzel boy, because he had scoliosis, which I dug that, the insensitivity. But then he just keeps bringing up using a banjo to whoop ass. And I love that,
Where's he going to get a banjo? I don't know, but I saw it in the movie, and the guy got hit with a banjo, and he went down.
Yo, and Red's like, no, Eric, that's stupid. Hit him in the groin. And then Mr. Pinciotti's like, and then hit him with the banjo in the groin or something like that. But he's got a hard on for banjos, Steve, and I get it. They pack a punch. In the basement again, and Jackie and Kelso are arguing. Jackie storms out, and Lori's in the basement, and she's ready to just pounce, Steve. She's still bored.
That's terrible the way she treats you. Kelso, I saw Star Wars, and I think it's the greatest thing of all time. You do? I used to think you were dumb, but I don't care. Well, I don't care either. And then they just make out, that's what he should have did in the kitchen.
I mean, she's throwing it at him at this point. So they're getting it on in the basement. In the living room, Kitty and Red are watching TV, and Kitty basically is like confronts Red about teaching Eric to fight because she heard about that. And Kitty is like, oh, you remember the time that you knocked that guy out in the library for talking to me? Knocked him out. Your skin was glistening in the sun and your muscles were bulging, and she gets all hot in the pants, and her and Red go upstairs and they start banging, Steve.
Yeah. Making that bed spring go waka 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 waka.
There's 2 generations of fucking going on in this house right now, Steve. Eric, fucking sexless, but everybody else is just getting laid and paid right now.
I didn't even think about that, man. Yeah. Meanwhile, their daughter is tonguing down her brother's best friend, and David and Donna, they're sitting on the swings, and Eric pulls up again, and he's ready to stand on some business. Damn it!
I mean, this kid, like, there's no hesitation. It's almost like he comes out of the bush. He's like, "Hey, what the hell?" And Donna is like, "Hey, man, he's got no interest in me at all." And as soon as she says that, David's like, "Hey, wait, what?
Oh shit!
Why do you think I wanted to listen to your stories? I wanted to see you naked, okay?
Because we're friends." Donna, get real. Yeah. And Eric's just like, yeah, see, I told you, like, these women, like,
I told you.
They're so naive, right? Like, you agree with me, right, man? Like, I see you. We're on the same page. And to think I was going to come over here and beat your ass.
You're pretty fucking cool, dude. Hell yeah. Donna storms off. So it's leaving the 2 fucking enemies, well, new friends. And David, I love how shitty he gets, because he's with Mr. Sweetie, but he's like, yeah, fuck that bitch. It would never work out anyway. And Eric's like, what do you mean? He's like, oh, I'm only here until my dad closes down the plant, And Eric's like, what, close down the plant? My dad's depending on this job. What do you mean? He's like, oh, my dad's only here just to like burn off inventory. And as soon as that's done, plant's closed. And Eric's like,
my dad needed that job.
He pops dude. I mean, the swing he takes, this is a Mike Tyson level punch coming from Eric Foreman, Steve. I didn't see it coming.
Well, it was warranted, because right when Eric says my dad was dependent on that job, and David says, well, he should have had a backup plan like my dad.
My dad could buy your dad. And he fucking breaks dude's nose. He fucking pops him in the chops, Steve. But I do like that he like gets hit in the nose. He's covering his face, and you hear like the dark, like the. Still a little intimidating, but Eric Foreman, dude, he stands on business, Steve. Fuck all the bullshit. He will throw down.
And he makes it back home, and Kitty confronts him like, I'm very disappointed in you for fighting. And he just has a brief apology. I'm sorry, Mom. It's okay. So you know what that's about. Quick forgiveness. And on her way out, she pats Red on the butt. And, Red stood on business upstairs in that bedroom. And, Eric asked, like, so where you guys going? Oh, well, we're going out for dinner and a movie, do some celebrating. So what was that thing you were going to tell me, Eric? Oh, have a good time.
Yeah. He just lets his dad, he's like, he needs to have some good times before I drop the ball here. So Red's just in a post-fuck, just euphoria. I think they're going to see Star Wars. But Lori's in the living room or wherever they're at. And Eric tells Lori everything that's going on. And, it's like she takes it all in. She's like, man, probably not the best time to tell parents I flunked out of college. Yeah, it's crazy. Thanks for the heads up. And he's like, how are you my sister? Because he's Mr. Goody Two Shoes and she's a hot college flunky. And I love that, Steve.
No, he's like, how are you the favorite? And
That's
she's just
what it
like,
is.
oh, I don't know. Pretty awesome though, huh?
God, Lori. Yeah. If I was related to you, it'd suck. But if I was Eric's friend, I would come over every day. And then like in the credits, we see everybody like the Pinciottis and the Foremans at the movies. They are watching Star Wars. And Red's like, this is a hop of shit. And I think he says like he's like, kid's on dope. He thought this was good. He must be smoking that dope. But it's like something flashes, a TIE fighter blows up, and you see him get it. He's like, oh shit, this is pretty sick. So just like everyone, Steve, just like you. I bet if you watched it and gave it a shot, you might like it. No, I'm talking about the old ones.
I did.
The old, okay. Well, I stand corrected. But Red gets it, and Red, got some pussy that day too, Steve. So he wins. He might be losing his job, but he can still pop a couple into his wife like that,
Yeah.
Pop.
And the guy that played David is Scott White, and he was in Mighty Ducks 2, D2, but I remember him as one of the city guys.
Oh, damn. He was one of the CITY guys, dude?
You can see why. Roll with the city guys. Yeah.
Damn. He looks like a background extra on Sons of Anarchy with that hair, but yeah, I didn't know was he one of the main city guys? He was the white city guy.
He was the guy that wasn't the black guy, yeah. He was the city guy.
CITY, we are those guys.
Roll with the city guys. That's all I remember.
Damn. Well, David, legendary fucking cocksucker on this. And but like I said, I think this was one of the first times that like Star Wars started getting put in shit that wasn't Star Wars. We got full-on stormtroopers. We got all the players in this. And this is where my hot take comes in, Steve, because I was just thinking about this. And as I've said, and you've noted, I'm a Star Wars fan. I was a huge Star Wars fan. Not so much now. It's a little much. The new ones aren't good. But this is a pretty, kind of a hot take. But I'm sure there's some people that would agree with this. I think Star Wars might have started the decline of cinema. And I say that because Star Wars was one of the first movies where I think toys as much as anything were thought of. Famously, George Lucas took the merchandising money instead of like a piece of the movie and got paid. And then Star Wars toys and like the things that came out with the movie, the merchandise became almost as popular as the movie. And now we've gotten to the point where he remade the originals. He did that. People never did that. He made changes to it. He retroactively like flipped story points and details. And hoarded out to the point that he sold it to Disney and created like a huge conglomerate and stuff. So I beg the question to you, you didn't even like the movie, but do you think that's somewhat accurate? Like, in the 70s, maybe obviously in the 80s when the sequels were coming out, but do you think that? Do you think like how that played out and how movies and like movie companies are conglomerates now and being bought out by bigger companies and being like homogenized where like Star Wars and Marvel is owned by the same company and you can just do whatever you want? Is that good or is that bad? You know?
Wow. I wasn't expecting that question. Honestly,
It's
but
it's deep, but I was just thinking that. I was just like, well, this is the first time that we saw like a established product mixed with like a show where you could just do that, right? But I think that's sort of like the thing with Star Wars. It's like the first to do this where it's like being pushed and added on and pushed down your throat to the point where now it's like there's 50 fucking things that you can watch of it that's coming out. It's like makes it worse almost, you
but
know?
I mean, what makes that different than Superman? What came first, this or Superman?
That's a good question. I mean, I think the OG Star Wars and Superman probably came out about the same time. But just like that, the comic book movies did what Star Wars did, and they started like, they made their own studio, they made their own like basic system of making these things, and then they started mass producing it, and then they got fucking added on and like bought out by somebody else, and the product's not as good. The old Superman movie, that was good. I enjoyed that. It's a little bit hokey now. It looks a little weird. But even the old Batmans and shit, like if you watch the shit now, I don't like it. It's watered down. And I feel like the the intention of somebody making a movie to make a movie and make a piece of art is cool. The intention of somebody going like, well, this movie's going to make us a shit ton of money because we can make action figures and this and that and the other out the ass. And, I feel like that's how people think to make movies and how you have to make big movies now, whereas that wasn't the case before Star Wars. Or maybe that's the thing, but I don't know. That's my hot take. I just think that kind of thinking and like, he's a genius. George Lucas did revolutionize a lot of things, but just because he did that doesn't mean all the other shit that came about because of like Star Wars and that system of merchandising and stuff. I feel like there's something that's like kind of diminished movies a little bit. And I mean, obviously the internet too, but I don't know. That's my hot take.
It left somewhat of a stink because when anything is super successful like Star Wars, a lot of people will try to replicate the formula. And that could be applied to just about anything, man. Even with music, man. When hair metal, when Guns N' Roses was a thing, everybody wanted to put on them leather pants and get their long puffy mullet. When Nirvana was a thing, everybody wanted to do the distressed jeans and when Dre and Snoop first hit the scene, everybody wanted to be gangster. But I do think the peak of all pop culture is the 90s. I really stand on that. I do know what you mean, man, but that was a time that came from the 70s into the 80s. And I think from the 80s, then you had independent movies. And even in the 70s, while Star Wars was going on, you did have some independent guys, man. You had your Scorsese's out of the 70s. You had your Spike Lee's coming out of the 80s. uh you know and then there's of course there's the John Hughes, there's the Christopher Columbus stuff. uh but even with that stuff, some of that stuff tries to get replicated. When Scorsese came out with Goodfellas, you had a string of other like mobster kind of joints in the 90s, man.
Yeah, I think it's just me being old now also where I'm like when I in the 90s like anything that was like Ninja Turtles was a thing that was made off of toys basically, so I love that stuff. But now it just seems like it's just like that's the first thought. It's not to make something good, it's like make something that's going to make money, and it just doesn't lend itself to us getting even movies like Love Jones, like it's shit like that. It's like that doesn't like unless you're watching some like straight to stream thing. I think maybe it's just the way media is coming out now and the technology is as much as anything. But I don't know. I just food for thought, Steve. I like to complain. I'm an old man.
Gained some more gray hairs throughout that fiasco. But in 1999, WCW is airing Uncensored 99 on pay per view, live from the Freedom Hall in Louisville, Kentucky.
Uncensored. You said this was
Man,
in '99. I think I got this. I think my dad bought this shit for me and my buddy Eric.
man, yeah, this a lot of things happened that I did not remember. Hogan all of a sudden becomes red and black. I don't remember that. Like I think they're just doing any and everything just to stay relevant at this point.
Scrambling.
Yeah, one of the matches was Virgil versus Stevie Ray for the title of NWO leader. Like whoever won the match is the leader of NWO Black and White. And you see vignettes of Hogan playing both sides. He's talking to Virgil like, "Oh yeah, brother, you can beat him up, brother. You got this one in the bag, brother. You got this one, Vincent." And then he's talking to Stevie Ray. "Oh no, brother, you got it." And so I don't know, but like you're red and black, so why do you care? It's confusing. The opening match might have been the best match. It's Kidman, who I used to love, man. He had that shooting star press
Yeah, hell yeah.
versus Mikey Whipwreck. And Mikey Whipwreck, this is his debut in WCW. Bobby Heenan keeps calling him Shipwreck and all of these other names throughout. There's a funny interview with Mikey Whipwreck that I watched recently where Bobby Heenan used to call him Sheep Dick off air. He'd be like, hey, come over here, Sheep Dick. I need to talk to you.
What the fuck? Sheep dick, Bobby.
Yeah, but this era of WCW is just trash. It's unbearable. Like it's so obvious the beginning is near. You still have some of the players. You still have Scott Steiner, Booker T. They have a match, and I'm a fan of both of them. But even that was a snooze fest. These damn graphics, they just didn't care anymore, man. Like this is shitty craftsmanship. And you want to know why I think about Saturn the way I think about him? Like this is why. Like he was wearing this on the way to his match,
It's
and
always been suspect though, Steve, but what is this? Like a
like
Marilyn Manson outfit?
he's emo Saturn at this point. I don't know why. You can't see the black lipstick. Yeah, it makes no sense. So there's that. And like
I
Scott
mean,
Steiner, he looks like his bicep is about to burst in this match, man.
Jesus Christ. Uh I mean, they were scrambling, Steve. They made that money, and it was like the idea factory was sort of slowing down, it seems like, you know?
And I left this out. The main event was 50-year-old Ric Flair versus 45-year-old Hollywood Hogan in a barbed wire steel cage match. They had barbed wire all across the top of this steel cage, and it looks like it was freshly bought from Home Depot. Like this isn't the gaudy, like rough-looking ECW barbed wire. This is shiny. Like it looks like foil.
It probably is. So they're trying to do the hardcore shit with some old ass men. I love that. I mean, it's not
Yeah,
good, but
they're grabbing at straws, Matt. They're trying to
oh,
keep up with the Joneses. And one of the matches is Raven and Hack, formerly Sandman. Now he's known as Hack, and Bam Bam Bigelow. So three guys who were in ECW, and they have this like weapons match. On top of this, it's just like
Hack. Why? Was it like was that like an insulting name like Vince used to do, where they're like, whatever, dude, you're a hack. That's your name.
spelled H-A-K. Sandman, get your ass back to ECW.
Yeah, dude. I mean, obviously, like you said, the end is near for WCW in this regard. But hey, Saturn, you can say no to an outfit if you want. You don't have to wear that shit. That's crazy, dude. I feel bad for him. Like, if it's not enough, you made him wear jorts and fucking whatever that shit was that we saw. I mean, it was like didn't he have like neon shit on at one point? Like some colorful shit?
He had some very sus things throughout the years, man.
I don't like that for him.
Saturn, yeah, man, they could have used you better. But any callbacks, honorable mentions, or takeaways, sir?
I just want to call up the hot topic that Perry Saturn bought that outfit and just make sure that they burn any leftovers because that's sad. Not really. I mean, we kind of went through everything. I mean, it's not 90s. I mean, I'm sure John Cena existed in the 90s, but just we were talking about how good John Cena is. We're talking about wrestling, and shout out to John Cena because he made my weekend. So just shout out to a ledge. It's not 90s, but whatever. It's okay. Dun, 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 dun. What about you, Steve?
And I got two items. In 1992, Howard Stern is airing the episode Henry Hill, and it's the real Henry Hill. He's in witness protection, and he's got like a fake goatee. They're talking to him via satellite, and they're basically playing around with him. Like one of the producers, he plays like he's one of the wives of one of the guys that Henry Hill killed. Oh my God, can't sleep at night, and I'll never forgive you. And like he can't see him because of technology at the time. And then eventually Howard comes clean. He's like, man, like that wasn't a real lady. That was actually our producer. And it's like some like fat guy with the like eagle's nest. But it was hilarious, man. Henry Hill, I don't think he's with us
No, there's no way. I mean, but he came on Howard Stern a bunch of times, but he was like famously just like a lot of substance abuse issues and stuff. He'd come in there kind of like Hank the Angry Drunken Dwarf, like tuned up, because he wasn't always in witness protection. He went in, he came into the studio, but that's hilarious. They tried to fuck with him like that. That's crazy.
King of all media, man. And also in 1992, Garth Brooks is the musical guest on SNL, and John Goodman is the host. And it started off strong. It's got the one where John Goodman is a sperm doctor, and he's got like 72 kids, and they all have the same haircut. They got like the curly fro hair, and yeah, that one's hilarious. And it's got a couple hitters in there, man. Love some John Goodman. But please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Please tell your little sister to sprinkle me, man. Sprinkle me, man. Timer, 40 whiner. Check out Food Show Fanatics with Kendra and Matt. Our guy, Clark the Shark. Glad you found your cat, man. Check him out on podcast. So check out Crushgasm every Wednesday with Kendra. And this is Steve G and Matt G with
Happened in the 90s. Ooh.